and welcome to Getting to Good Enough, a podcast to help you let go of perfectionism so you can do more of what you love. I'm Shannon Wilkinson, a life coach in Portland, Oregon. I'm a recovering perfectionist who's getting better at good enough.
And I'm Janine Adams, a certified professional organizer in St. Louis, Missouri, and I'm lucky enough to be naturally good at good enough.
And today we're talking with Jen Singer about perfectionism and illness.
Hey Shannon, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. I'm excited because we have a special guest.
I know. It's very exciting. Jen has married her expertise as a medical writer and her extensive experience as a patient and to help people with new diagnoses. And I'm really excited to hear more about it.
Yeah, me too. I've admired Jen's work for literally decades, her writing, and I bought one of her guides that she'll be telling us about, and it's fantastic.
That's awesome. So welcome, Jen.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about your experience, sort of what brought you to this?
Yes, so I have been a patient for far too long. In 2007, I was diagnosed with stage 3 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, went through chemo and radiation, made it to remission, got to see my kids grow up.
Wow.
And then in 2020, I was one of the first people to get COVID. I call it COVID Classic. And shortly thereafter, my heart, the electrical system of my heart shut down, like stadium lights at the end of the game. And I wound up with heart failure and a pacemaker. The way I like to describe it is that chemo and radiation filled the barn full of dynamite and COVID lit the match. And now here I am. So I have a lot of experience as a patient, but as you said, I also have experience as a medical writer, because in between those two major life events, I became a medical writer, because who better to write about what it's like to be, get a biopsy and get a PET scan than someone who's had multiple of all of these things and can tell you what it's like, not just from a logistics point of view, but from an emotional point of view as well. So I combined the two of those to create books, ebooks for people who are just diagnosed, and Google, which I don't recommend because it's unfiltered information. Right. And I filter it for you.
That's amazing. I just feel like it's so generous for you to take such difficult situation and help other people with it.
I want to take the loneliness out of illness. It's extremely important to me, both for the people who are sick and for the people who love them. Just this weekend, a friend of a friend contacted me because his wife is very sick. And they had reached as far as they could reach. She wasn't getting any better, and he wanted some advice. And I helped him find better doctors, other places to go, more information. I did the research for him. So why not open that up and do it for as many people as I can?
Right. Oh my gosh, that is so generous, though. I'll share, this is Janine, Jen, I'll share that my husband also has electrical problems in his heart and was diagnosed with heart failure. So that was the guide of yours that I bought, the book that I bought. But it's such a journey of the unknown when you're a patient or someone who loves a patient, and getting that kind of information that you provide in such an accessible format is tremendous. I can imagine, it wasn't available at that time. I didn't have it yet, but I could see reading that in an iPad at my husband's bedside, and it would have been handy at the hospital.
Yeah, and I started with heart failure. When I got heart failure, I Googled it and found something I had written for NYU Langone 5 years. So thank you, 2015 Jen. It really helped me out. But I started with heart failure not only because of my personal experience with it, but because I keep seeing on heart failure boards on Facebook over and over again, people Googling it and scaring the heck out of themselves because the statistics about it, about the survival rates and whatnot, are low online, but they're also very old
Yes.
and incorrect. So I started there, and it was very important to me. I have not yet written a guide about cancer. At some point, I hope to run out of illnesses that I've actually had and start working on some other ones. But the next one is lymphoma.
It's like having a friend sitting next to you, guiding you.
But that's exactly the point. It's that, you get diagnosed or someone you know gets diagnosed with something and you start asking your network, who do we know who's had heart failure? Who do we know who's had lymphoma? Whatever it is.
Right.
And you hook them up to talk to each other because there's nothing like talking to another patient who's been through what you've been through. And they just, I used to say that it's like wandering around the middle of China and you run into a fellow American. You just understand each other. You get each other. There's a shortcut to the way you talk to each other, and there's a feeling of understanding and compassion.
I'm curious, in your experiences, did you sort of bump up against perfectionism as you're trying to navigate your illnesses and health crises?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So the first time, not the second time. I learned the second time. The first time when I had cancer, I was 40. My kids were 8 and 10. I was the soccer coach. I was the class mom. I was, also a writer. I had a career and all of these things at one time and, going 90 miles an hour and getting everything done. And all of a sudden I couldn't do it anymore. And I had to learn very quickly what was really important and what was not, because I didn't have the energy to do everything anymore. And so I had to learn how to do energy triage. Because do you want to spend your time or your energy, what limited energy you have when you are sick, cleaning the toilet or,
Right.
any number of ridiculous things that we have to do? Or do you want to spend it just spending some time with your kids or, going to dinner with friends? I just learned very quickly to do that energy triage, and it was better for me and was better for my family. And so that the second time around when I was sick, of course, that was during the pandemic and no one was doing anything or going anywhere. It was actually a relief because I didn't have to go anywhere or do anything. It was forced, sitting in my house.
Right. Forced rest.
And it kind of gave me more time to come to terms with the idea that, okay, with the cancer, it was curable. But this is a chronic disease that I'm always going to have. And I had to wrap my brain around it. And also, some days I feel better than others. So it's the same energy triage, but I'm doing it moment to moment, day to day, and it's never going to end.
Do you have any sort of specifics on how you do that energy triage? Is there, some questions you ask yourself, or how do you figure that out?
It's a matter of, again, looking at not only how much energy you have in a day, but let's be honest, I don't have as much life left as I did before all of this. So it's a matter of values. When I die on my deathbed, when I'm at the end of everything, do I want to look back and remember the trip that I'm about to take with my brother to San Diego because he won something for real estate and I'm his +1? Do I want to put my energy into that ridiculousness? Yes, I do. Thank you very much. I will do that and then put aside a couple days around it to recuperate, because that's going to take a lot out of me. It's my first time on an airplane since the before times, and now I've got a pacemaker in my chest. So this is going to be interesting through TSA.
Right.
I know that is well worth it, and way more worth than packing on work the day I get back or other things that I used to do.
Right. We talk about that a lot, like knowing what's important to you and making decisions around that.
But your decisions have to change. You can't, I just think that we as people who have perfectionist tendencies have still twice as much on their to-do list as other people. And they don't realize it. So they just don't. And so I have been forced to relax. There were days, like now I feel much better, but there were days when I couldn't work past 2 because I was exhausted. And I just had to learn not to push through it and lie down, take a nap,
Right.
play a game on my phone.
Right. And just take care of yourself.
Yeah, I don't know why we don't know how to take care of ourselves. I think that the pandemic, though, has changed that. People are reevaluating what's truly important and realizing that we were really, up until 2020, we just behaved in ridiculous ways. We did. And
It's true.
It's true. And I think that the pandemic made us all realize, you know what, why are we doing this much? And
Right.
so we do less. I have the added benefit of going, well, I've got heart failure, I'm going home.
Yeah.
I play that card, I'm done, good night. We can do more of that now. I think everyone understands it better.
Yeah, and I think that the sort of the ridiculousness of expectations has really changed, both from other people as well as for ourselves.
Yeah, I saw it here. I live at the Jersey Shore and I used to go for long walks, still do, go for long walks on various boardwalks. And during the pandemic, I was just like, who the heck are all these people? I've always worked from home. I'd go for a walk on the boardwalk. There'd be nobody there on a Tuesday. And all of a sudden, everybody was there. And,
Right.
I just probably trying not to kill each other at home. But people were working from home. There's still a lot of people working from home because our train station parking lot used to be full all the time. These are people commuting to New York. They're still home. A lot of people are still home, and it's changed the way that they do things. And I think it's much healthier that we're all just walking on the boardwalk on a Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My husband is still 50% of his week is work from home. And actually his company gave up their office space for this part of the business. And it's sort of amazing. Like, they never thought they could do it.
They never thought they could do it until they were all forced to do it. And now
Right.
it's fascinating. Gee, and it cracks me up as I've been writing from home for 30 years. So I don't understand what's so hard about working from home. I used to do it with children running through and, throwing water balloons at each other, and I still managed to get it done. So I think it was great to force people into it because, everyone came to understand that you get to be yourself, you get to relax. You can get up and lie down in the middle of the day.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And it's cheaper for the employer to give up office space. I mean, there are so many benefits to it that employers were forced to realize.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious if you have any thoughts about supporting someone who has a new diagnosis or a chronic illness, for that matter.
Yeah, so those are two different things. And I have been those two different things. So we, as Americans, and I probably other nationalities as well, we are really good at go fight win. So if somebody is up against a diagnosis where there's a chance they could be cured, as i.e. the lymphoma that I had, where you're going to go through hell and back with chemo and radiation and whatnot, people are great at supporting that because it's go fight win, it's short term. we'll cook for you, for a couple months, but then we're going to lose interest. And when you have a chronic disease, people, I don't know if they don't mean to or they just lose interest and they are afraid to ask you how you are. They disappear.
Right.
So if you are supporting someone who's sick and they have something that's short term, the logistics are often what we need the most help with. But also, I think for both chronic and for acute conditions, we need your help emotionally as well. And one of the things that I've been teaching people is don't tell people how to feel by using one of the platitudes that we have all been taught how to use, such as be positive and stay strong. Everything happens for a reason. All of those things really don't make people feel better. All you need to say is, how is it for you today? And then just listen. And the reason for that is because sometimes you feel fine and you don't even want to talk about being sick. And sometimes there's some major issue. I've got surgery tomorrow and I'm really terrified. And if I tell you, be strong, I'm telling you how to feel and I'm invalidating your true feelings. So just ask people, how is it for you today? And then listen.
Well, and I love that phrasing because it's not how are you today?
Right.
How is it for you today? And it creates a little space where it seems to me if I were asked that question, it creates a little space where I can be more honest and just instead of just saying fine or okay or whatever.
But that's the other, exactly. It creates safety because that's the other thing as a patient. We never know what we're going to get when we answer those questions. I had one friend who came to visit me when I had cancer, and she cried the entire time, and I had to take care of her. People say awful things, and I am on a mission to say it's not enough to mean well. You have to do better, and to do better, you can't just drop a lasagna off and run away. There's more to it to support people.
Yeah.
And if you are nervous, I actually had a medical doctor tell me that he had a friend who got cancer and he didn't know what to say.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So I'll tell you another thing not to say, and that's if there's anything I can do. Because that phrase is homework. Because now I'm the patient and I have to come up with something for you to do. Instead, think of something, suggest something specific. For instance, I know that you're going to chemo next week. Do you want me to drive you there? And of course, not just anyone can ask that. You don't want something like neighbor you barely know taking you to chemo. But anything. Can I cook something for you this Friday? We're making such and such. Not, I'd like to. Can I cook for you sometime? Be very specific about what you're offering.
Right. That is so helpful. I know because when someone says like, oh, let me know if there's anything I can do. It's like, well, that just feels like a dump load of nothing.
Because it is. And we can do better than if there's anything I can do.
Yeah.
Right.
So Jen, what other ways did perfectionism show up for you? Maybe as a patient or even now as you're, dealing with your chronic condition?
So I feel like I have been cured of my perfectionism.
Yay!
Just like I've been cured of cancer, because there's just no room for it. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't still try very hard and do a lot of things, but I don't push myself like I used to because I can't, because my body has proven time and again it will push right back.
Right.
So when I was younger, though, when I had cancer, when I was 40 and raising kids, I had to learn to let go of some of my perfectionism around parenting. And which is funny, from the author of a book called You're a Good Mom and Your Kids Aren't So Bad Either. where I was telling everyone not to be perfectionists. There was somebody who wrote a review of that book on Amazon, I believe it's still up, that said that I was just to the left of a super mom, that I really wasn't somewhere in between, and she was probably right. And so after I had cancer, it still took me a couple years to just chill out a little bit more and just not be all things to everybody all of the time.
Right. Right. And I'm sure really staying in touch with what was important to you helped make that a little bit easier.
I have no choice now.
Yeah.
I have no choice. And there are days where I'm tired and I'm like, gee, why am I tired? Because you have stage 3 heart failure, you idiot. That's why you're tired. And you can't do the things that you used to do. And so sometimes when I'm feeling better, I forget how sick I really am. Because my doctor's done a phenomenal job of turning things around for me, and I bop up and down the stairs and then I have to remind myself, you know what? I have to almost schedule in, sit down for 10 minutes. Or you don't need to take that out to that huge box and break it up and put it in to recycling today. Recycling is not until next week. I put things off. I take things off my to-do list, and I lie around sometimes and just watch movies from the 80s, and that's okay.
That is very healing. Movies from the 80s.
Yeah, the Breakfast Club makes everything okay.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and it's interesting because you are really experiencing these direct consequences, and other people think that they're not, but the stress of trying to be perfect is going to create consequences just a little bit further down the line.
It's going to create physical consequences because if your cortisol levels are raised all of the time, at some point your body is going to collapse or push back. And you may be healthy enough and young enough to pull it off now, but you're not going to be able to do it forever. So why put your body and your psyche through that when you got to think about the long run? I mean, it really is. My son was a star cross-country runner, and I think that when you run a short race, it requires a different set of skills than when you run a long one, obviously. And so you need to just be thinking about, I'm on this long course and there's mud and leaves ahead, slow the hell down. That's your life.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. One of the things you talked about a lot is don't Google stuff.
Yeah.
So I had to have an imaging study done this morning, and with the new laws, your results are released to you immediately.
Yeah.
And without, the doctor's review of them first. So what do? I Google what the radiologist said immediately.
No, bad idea.
What would be a better idea?
So, and I'm saying this as somebody who loves that because I'm a medical writer and I do want to Google it, and I do Google it, and then I ask them all kinds of questions about the studies that I found and this, that, and the other. So let me be transparent on that. I love it. However, if you do not have a medical background and you are reading these things and you Google the words, you're going to scare the heck out of yourself because there are, for instance, if you get a blood test, let's say, and it says, something in particular is elevated and now you're terrified, it must mean I have cancer. It may also mean you're just dehydrated. And you're not going to know that because you don't have that experience. So you asked me, what should you do? You should not look at it until your doctor contacts you to explain it to you. And or if you have someone medical in the family, your very own medical enforcer, have them look at it and explain it to you.
Yeah, I'm lucky in that my husband is a doctor, so
There you
I
go.
also texted him a screenshot of the results, and he called me immediately.
Yeah, exactly. That is the answer. Everyone should have their own doctor in their family. That's the answer.
Yeah. Well, Janine, do you have anything else you want to ask Jen?
Well, I have a comment, which is that one of the things that I love about your question to ask a sick person of, how is it for you today, that popped into my mind, is that it allows the sick person to just avoid talking about how they feel, if that's what they want to do, or it allows them to talk about whatever they want. Whenever I think about, sometimes if I'm asked about something that's hard, sometimes I just don't want to talk to that person about it, and I'm happy to talk with them about, the latest baseball game. Well, not that, but something. My dog. So I love that question very much. I'm going to remember that question probably forever, Jen.
It's extremely important because if you are sick and you haven't seen somebody else yet and they run into you at the supermarket and now you have to talk about cancer for 10 minutes when you just want to buy bread, that how is it for you today gives you exactly like you said, gives you the excuse of just talking about your kid's soccer game. And
Yeah, it's a brilliant phrase.
Yeah. Well, and in that example, I could imagine just saying, just buying bread today.
Yes. and then everybody who is asking the question should just take that as good for you.
Yeah.
And not a follow-up question, but really, how are you?
Right.
Yeah. Well, Jen, is there anything else that you want to share with our listeners?
Yeah, I would say that if you are somebody who's supporting someone who's sick and you have perfectionist tendencies, you are going to burn yourself out because we tend to think, well, the other person's sick, therefore I have no right to feel anything but strong and hold up everything for the entire family. And that is going to take you down, and then you're going to be useless to the sick person. You might even be sick yourself. So, give yourself some grace. Cut yourself some slack. Even though you're not the sick person, you still have a lot on your shoulders. And acknowledge that for yourself and take some time.
Yeah, and that and the comment you made earlier about your friend who came in and cried the whole time when you had cancer and you had to take care of her. It reminds me of that concept of the I think it's called the circles of grief, where are you, I don't know if you're familiar with this or not, but when you're going to support someone, you support them, and then when you need support about what's going on with that person, you don't talk to them about it. You talk to someone who's one step removed.
Yes, absolutely. You can't. Way too often, I found that I was taking care of people who came to visit me in the hospital, as though, I know it's very upsetting to visit the oncology floor. Let me make it easier for you.
Right.
And so when I was in the hospital for COVID/heart failure, I thought it was great that no one could visit me because I didn't have to take.
You didn't have to manage anything. Oh, I mean, that's great, and also sad that we do that to people.
I did that to myself because I took that on.
Yeah.
If I had known then what I know now, I would have taught people to treat me differently, and that's exactly what I did after COVID and heart failure. I told people basically what I needed. If they said things like stay strong, I would say, no, I have other plans today, and explain to them why. Because if I don't teach them, they're not going to know. And, we don't know because we're not taught this. So that's my job, is to let everybody know this.
A woman on a mission.
Yeah, what a gift to all of us on all sides of this experience.
I don't know. If cancer is a gift, where can I return it? You know.
No, not a gift, not you having cancer, but what a gift teaching people, educating people in how to be present when they're dealing with a health issue or they're caring for someone, supporting someone with a health issue. That's the gift you're sharing.
And I think we can all do it for each other, just one little step at a time. You don't have to know how to do it all at once. Just learn one little phrase, learn one little thing, and then someone else will learn that from you.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for being with us today, Jen.
Thank you so much for chatting with me.
And we should ask Jen about how people can learn more about her, or maybe you're about to do that, Shannon.
Yeah.
And the guides or the books.
Yeah. So would you like to share how people can find the guides?
Yes, you can find more about the Just Diagnosed guides at justdxguides.com. And you can also follow me on Twitter at Jen Singer, and you can follow me on Instagram at justdxguides.
That's fantastic. And we'll put those in the show notes as well, so people don't have to remember them. And we'd love to hear from you, our listeners. Are you supporting someone with a chronic health condition? Are you going through one yourself? How do you manage it? You can let us know on Facebook or Instagram at Getting to Good Enough. On Twitter, we're at GTG Enough. You can call 413-424-GTGE, that's 4843, and leave us a voice message. Or you can head over to gettingtogoodenough.com and leave a comment in the show notes. Until next time, this is Shannon Wilkinson in Portland, Oregon.
And Janine Adams in St. Louis, Missouri.
And we hope that good enough is getting easier for you. It's going to be really hard, but I'm going to try to stop Googling my health stuff.
But you have a doctor in your family. You're all set.
Yeah.